CVTV is Cumberland Valley's biggest news station, bringing daily student news to over 2,000 students, staff, and administrators. Given their size and popularity, today I'm going on a mission to look beyond the show and take a look at the people who make it happen. This is a day in the life of CVTV. And guiding you through this process is myself. I'm Teddy from CVTV. Let's take a look. Every day when class starts, it's time to debrief with Mr. Bomboy. We'll walk through the script for the day, the videos playing, upcoming events, current projects, and more. Everyone pays attention to find out what needs to happen and how we get there. Let's take a look at a few key moments that I picked up on today.
We won't know what the weather is like today, so no
it's
weather.
It's going to be nice all week and then it's going to rain on prom.
Now, Sean Hopkins, you're on the message board. I do want Caroline to show you the new way that we do that with notes in the slides for when we take those off, okay? Tomorrow we'll run this volleyball on the spot, right? Sound is awesome, and it's timed really well, and just really, really great, Caroline. That's the way to do it. It's awesome.
I think I'm just getting the hang of it because I can't do it.
That's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing. So, great job. So don't forget, my friends, that are filming the band concert tomorrow night. This is going to be kind of a low-end production. I actually don't need 3 of you. Does anybody want to bail on this? We're setting up one camera. It's just for the band. We've already done stuff. Ryan, Kevin, and Sean Ross. Does anybody want to bail? All right, our script looks pretty good today. Let me get to the agenda here. Year 4, Sean Ross. I still do not have that PSA. No, it's not. I checked a minute ago. We've got to work together so I can see it, okay?
Unhealthy.
And you, that's what I'm getting through right now. Dakota, you are, you know what you're doing. You're finishing that up, right? Tell you your question.
I forgot.
Okay. And
as you've probably picked up on, there's a lot that we prepare at the start of every class. This particular day was Monday, so we had a lot of extra things from the weekend to discuss. The start of class is also a great opportunity, seen here, to ask questions and get help from Mr. Bomboy or your peers with projects and other work. After our initial debrief, the second stage of class begins, the learning. After we start and debrief class, it's time for the real work to begin. Apart from heavy learning at the first year level, progress and work and projects in CVTV is mostly self-directed, while Mr. Bomboy is available to help and answer questions. Here, we see Ryan working diligently on editing a news story. Now let's take a look at some highlights from today's learning. Mr. Bomboy will be teaching sound design, and McKaylee is working on her weather segment.
A tornado is a violent group of rotating air that touches the ground and is usually attached at the base of a thunderstorm. They are considered some of nature's
documentary that I'm doing for CV9. And right now I got 2 interviews with 2 people who are in charge of CV9's development, and I'm putting their interviews together. And I'm also praying that as soon as I make a change, it doesn't take more than 4 minutes to re-render the entire project.
Makes sense.
open. I'm waiting for mine to open here. Let's stop the talking, please, and pay attention up here. I'm going to start talking about EQ today. Are you guys familiar? Who's familiar with equalization? Okay, so EQ is basically, you've probably seen this on a car stereo or maybe on your own stereo. The highs and the lows, or sometimes with bass and treble, right? And you can hear the difference between these. So equalization balances frequencies within an audio recording. It's very important. You should always EQ anything you ever record, okay? It can be done before the sound is recorded, and then it can also be adjusted further in post-production.
In addition to just showing you what's happening, I'll have some students tell you about it. I sat down with first year Kate, second year Dakota, and third year Sean to tell you about their experiences of learning in this class.
So most of the stuff we're learning is like basic camera movements, basic movements in cameras in general, just basic camera things, which Granted, if you really should know, especially even if you're not a photographer, it's great to know these things. That way you can make your family photos even look much better and much more alive.
So as a year 2 in CVTV, I mostly do on the spots for sports. The most recent ones I've done were homecoming, the Powder Puff game, and as well as boys varsity basketball. And I've had a lot of fun doing those. At the beginning of the year, I was learning a lot on After Effects and learning motion camera on that, which was also really fun. So After Effects is a program that we use to make videos and a lot of cool animations for the class, and I've enjoyed a lot of my time on it, even though it can be quite difficult to use sometimes.
So I'm in year 3, which means that all year 3s I'm in year 3, which means that all year 3s are going to make a documentary. They can make it on any topic they want, but it has to be within reason, obviously. So for mine, I'm making a documentary on CV9. I want to talk a little bit about the development and kind of what's happened after it's come out. I want to tell a story of what it's like to kind of take on such a big process, especially in the public eye of parents of students. I think it's something that is worth talking about. And so that's what I'm making mine on. Aside from that, year 3s and 4s in CVTV usually have a little bit more work to do. Year 2s, especially with Dakota this year, I would say also is take on a little bit more work than what people who are just getting into class would have to do. This includes on the spots, higher level roles for important events that we're doing, such as thon events, or maybe this year we did something with homecoming. And so usually it's more of the more difficult roles, as well as some extra work, such as also PSAs.
This is just a small snapshot of what students do every day in the class. There's really a lot that goes on in preparing the videos and projects seen on CVTV every day. In addition to learning and making videos, we still have the actual CVTV show to prepare, which takes us to the fun part of class, preparing CVTV. I sat down and spoke to a few students in the class about their experience and how they prepared the daily morning show. Let's see what they have to say.
So I'm a year 1, and I decided to take it because Bomboy said I would do good. And I just decided, okay, that's cool. So I just do random jobs that I'm assigned, other than producer work, which is writing scripts, doing, making sure the shows are called, making sure everything runs smoothly, and just fanning and making sure the fire is not too hot during that day. Sometimes it gets pretty hot. So normally, because of my producer work, I normally do most of the jobs behind the scenes. So I do most of the jobs then. And one of them is calling shows. Show calling is where I'm making sure everything runs smoothly and working to make sure everything runs smoothly. And the other job I do is studio producing, which is I just sit here and make sure everything runs smoothly out in the studio. So most of it is just not freaking out. Just don't freak out, because it's nerve-wracking, especially being a first year and not knowing anything about what I'm doing and just going with the flow. It's probably one of the things that I have to work on and work harder at, just making sure I'm not questioning everything, including myself, because that's when I normally slip up.
I chose to take CVTV because, so in 8th grade, I was in the student council, and we did the morning announcements every day, and I actually really enjoyed working the camera. And it was course selection time, and I was like, oh, well, since I really enjoy doing the morning announcements, and so I decided to take CVTV. My top 3 jobs that I mostly do are technical director, pro presenter in YouTube Live, as well as switcher, and also a little bit of anchor as well. So for technical director, basically that job is basically the main one of CVTV. That's the most important job, I would say. So technical director, you add the graphics and the titles for all the announcements and make sure that all the videos have loaded in.
So the day-to-day in CVTV can be different for a lot of people. For me as a year 3, most weeks I am working on my documentary in class for about 40 minutes or so. For me, I spend about 30-35 minutes working on my weekly updates for my documentary. This includes storyboarding or coming with ideas or getting in contact with people I want to interview. Then afterwards, it's getting ready for the show. For me, I prefer to work more in the studio, specifically with teleprompter or getting the cameras ready, the occasional anchoring. And so that usually take about 5-10 minutes to prepare. And then there's the actual show that's going on, and that'll take up the rest of the class period. So with a teleprompter, we have to put in a script. There are 2 scripts for CVTV. There's the one that the control room uses. It tells them what graphics to put up, what's going to be going where for specifically who's talking. With the studio script that you're putting into the teleprompter, it's just saying who is talking and what exactly they are saying. So that includes downloading the text file for the script, then that is putting that into the script engine that kind of works as a teleprompter that kind of slides up. And all you're doing is you're loading the text in, you're formatting it correctly, and then once it's showtime, you are scrolling up to the speed at which the anchors are talking. You also want to make sure that there's no spelling issues or grammatical issues. Sometimes there's confusing names that we'll look at ahead of time to make sure the anchors know how to pronounce. They still don't know always how to pronounce them, but that's all right. It's the thought that matters.
So my name is David Emmerich. I am a year 4 student. I am the producer this year. So the reason I actually took the class is because before I even knew about CVTV, I knew my brother took it back when he was in high school. And I always thought that was super cool because I got involved with making videos in middle school when teachers would assign projects. I would always make videos, and my love of video making actually grew. And I wanted more excuses to make videos, and I thought a good excuse would be to join a class where I would explicitly make videos that the whole school could see. So the way I make the show run smoothly is I first want to get everyone on a basis that they know what they're going to do for the show. So we all have a goal in mind. I think that's very important whenever doing any project is you want to have everyone on the same scripts to make sure everyone knows the goal that they're trying to accomplish. And in CVTV, the fun part about the class is that every day comes new challenges and new struggles. But the fun part about it is that everyone in the class is always on one goal, and that's to make the show run smoothly and operate. So I think even as a producer, that I don't need to know everything. I just need to know how to find the solution, which is a very good goal in life for a lot of solutions, not just for the TV studio in general. Always knowing what questions to ask is very important when troubleshooting. And another studio job I like very much, even though I can't do it a lot, is anchoring, because I feel like anchoring, it's a good way to express yourself. It's a good way of public speaking, because you're public speaking in front of the entire school. And that's a very important skill in life that I think we don't get to train a lot in high school, but I feel like being in CVTV, you don't think about public speaking as a way you can train, but it very much so is, and that I would encourage people who do struggle with public speaking, like I was in middle school, to take the class so they can further train that skill.
Now that we have an idea for just a few of the many pieces that go into making the daily CVTV show, it's time for the best part of our day, running the actual show. We've already debriefed with Mr. Bomboy, learned some content, and even made some content. We've prepared the show, and now it's time to put it all together. During the show, we have about 13 people working 10 different jobs to ensure that everything runs smoothly. Once our show is over, our day is complete, and we can leave class, feeling good and ready to eat lunch.
Good morning, CV. Today is Monday, March 7th, 2022. I'm Justin.
And I'm Sean. Please rise for the pledge to the flag.
At 12 p.m., classes will start for the day and Minigdan will commence. The entire school and registered members of CV9 will experience the return of our annual pep rally. After 3 p.m., only registered students will experience the rest of the Minigdan, including our big reveal at 10 p.m. Find the link to register in Schoology updates or on CV Minigdan social media. If you would like to stay after 3 p.m., you must register. Day registration will be available.
Alright, that's what a day in the life of CVTV looks like. Thanks for watching this documentary and following along this year. Have a good one.